Good morning. This is our annual Memorial Day commemoration. How's the sound in the back? It's okay in the back? It's okay? Okay. Thank you very much for coming. We're happy to see you here today. This memorial commemoration is a joint production by the Provo City Mayor's Office, Provo Veterans Council, and the America's Freedom Festival at Provo. The Freedom Festival sponsors 25 events throughout the year, and their magazine will be delivered to all the houses in Utah County next week. Please read it and check it out, because there are a lot of really wonderful events that go around during the year, and most of them are free. They're all patriotic, they're all beneficial. We encourage you to support those events. The Freedom Festival pins for this year have just been produced. The mayor and some of the other folks have those on. If you'd like to get one of those today, Bill Freeze from the Freedom Festival. Stand up, Bill.
We got him.
There are diminishing requests for his presence, but while he's here, let's be sure you take a chance, if you'd like a pen, to get one from Bill. Thanks for being here. This is an event where we showcase and feature and venerate our veterans. We appreciate them. You know, military training is unlike any other training, because the things you learn can benefit and protect other people's lives. And the courses of action you take, be they good or wonderful, be they bad or horrible or terrible. So we really do venerate our veterans today. Today we're pleased to have the sensational 10th View High School Band with us to provide the music. They're led by Jared Harold. They do a sensational job. Let's hear it for the 10th View High School Band. As I said before, vets are special. The veterans took the pledge to protect the U.S. against all enemies, foreign and domestic. They raised their hands to the square and promised never to surrender while they have the means to resist. That means one chambered bullet is the means to resist. And that's what they made the commitment to do, to defend and protect the United States from all enemies. So we venerate them today, we honor them today, and we thank you for being here today to participate in that activity. Our invocation today will be by Rocky Bullock, the chaplain for the local chapter of the Disabled American Veterans. He will be escorted by Robert Bennett, after which our mayor, John Curtis, will favor us with a few opening remarks. And then Sherry Peterson from the Freedom Festival Board of Directors will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Following the pledge, the national anthem will be offered by the 10th View High School Band. Please stand during the national anthem. Rocky Bullock will give us the invocation.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, as we have met here this day, on this Memorial Day, to honor all of those who have given their lives for our freedom, to help us in every way to live our lives the way we wanted to live and the way they wanted to live, but they gave us theirs first, and we know that Heavenly Father is with them every minute, and He will be guiding us through the rest of our lives. Bless those who are not with us today for whatever reason, illness or any infirmities that they have. Bless those who have lost their loved ones in the past. They should know that their loved ones are here in a very guarded location and that they're standing by their resting place with them every day, and Heavenly Father knows where they're at and will take care of them. Bless all those who are with us for their patriotism, for coming out, and for supporting all of us military people as we go to work to save our gracious and glorified United States of America. We honor Thee at this time and ever. We will continue to do those things which we are called upon to do, no matter what age and what infirmities that we have. Just because I'm blind and can't see some things, people can take me different places. I'll be glad to do what I can at my age and do those things. But bless all those who are here with us today and help them in every way. We leave this with you, Heavenly Father, and with all those who are with us, in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Thank you, Rocky. What a great inspiration. Well, on behalf of the residents of Provo, I'm so pleased to welcome all of you here today and express a few remarks. I'm also pleased and I'm proud to be the mayor of a city that so quickly recognizes our veterans, and not only recognizes them, but has a deep reverence for these veterans. My father served in the Navy, and as a young man, I remember very well him talking about the respect that people had for veterans. He shared with me frequently a story about traveling back and forth between San Diego, where he was stationed, and his home in Salt Lake City. And many of our young people won't understand this, but he made that distance by hitchhiking back and forth, and taught me how to hitchhike. And he told me that inevitably, when he wore his uniform and would stand by the side of the road, that the very first car to pass him would stop and pick him up and feed him and take care of him and transport him to wherever he wanted to go. And that planted in my heart a seed of reverence for those who wear the uniform. I'm so grateful to live in a country, in a state, in a county, in a city where we have that reverence. And I appreciate you being here today to show that reverence. And I express to you my commitment to always appreciate and thank those who have worn the uniform for us, for our freedom and our safety. Thank you very much.
Thank you, that was great. Through the years, I've been involved in many Eagle Scout projects. The Boy Scouts requires Eagle Scout candidates to complete a service project that benefit the community. And through the course of my activities in Provo, I've been involved in many of these activities and these projects. Aaron Ritmanek just finished his junior year at Timpview High School, and he's a candidate to be an Eagle Scout. For the past 2 years, he's been working on this project, which, in my opinion, is one of the finest I have ever seen. So at this time, Aaron will explain the project, and it will be unveiled for your eyes to behold. And following with the unveiling, Jared Harold, the leader of the band, will come up and explain the musical program. So please welcome Aaron Ritmanek.
Good morning. I am honored to be a part of the program today. My remarks will be focused around gratitude. First of all, I am grateful to be standing in a free country, able to transfer the feelings of my heart in a peaceful setting like this beautiful morning. I am grateful for the guaranteed rights of our Constitution. So if I choose to ramble on for the next 90 minutes, that's my guaranteed right. Maybe some rights aren't guaranteed. I am grateful for our beautiful town that we live in. It could quite possibly be one of the most beautiful places on earth. I am grateful for family, my grandparents, my parents, my brothers and sisters, my dog, and sometimes my cat. Okay, that was for you, Mom. I am grateful for the enthusiasm, support, and generosity shown by so many as this project has become a reality. I am grateful for the countless hours so many influential leaders have given in my behalf, especially my Scoutmaster Bob Wright and his wonderful wife Jen, for the 1,000 overnights she has allowed him to hang out with us, and the 1,000 smelly campfire hugs when we returned. I am grateful for the influence of those amazing people that I have had the privilege of meeting through this process. Most of all, I am grateful for those that have gone before and are currently serving so that I can be here today and can return home to enjoy their families with the assurance of peace. For my Eagle Scout project, I wanted to do something that would make a significant contribution to our community. A bronze eagle on top of the Veterans Memorial seemed an appropriate addition to an already sacred monument. I have always been grateful for the freedoms of this great country and wanted to honor those that have served to preserve and protect those freedoms. After searching many available sculptures, this magnificent bronze by Mike Curtis named Eagle Rock was selected as the finest example of a majestic eagle to stand as a reverent sentinel on top of the Veterans Memorial. In a minute, my brother Ryan is going to unveil this bronze eagle that captures the majesty and reverence deserving of this monument. I have been working on this project for 2 years. Let me share a little of the journey with you. First of all, I want to thank my brother Jacob, who conceived the project several years ago, inspiring me and was selfless enough to give many hours to help me accomplish it. I would like to thank Mayor Curtis, Wayne Parker, and the Provo City staff that has assisted in this endeavor, especially James Cornaby, who always is available for questions no matter what the hour, and is so committed to keeping this cemetery beautiful for all of us. I would like to thank the significant donors that were gracious enough to allow me to acknowledge them on the granite base, and for the many other donors of time and resources that remain unnamed. Allow me to highlight a couple. Beasley Monument for doing the perfect engraving free of charge, and Andreas Garcia for lending us his skilled granite craftsmanship after hours on a weekend without requesting any compensation because it was for this memorial. Once we chose this eagle, we decided to allow it to be perched on a granite foundation. Fortunately, we were able to match the existing granite on the monument. But let me tell you something about this particular granite that you may not know. It is called absolute black, and it is one of the hardest and truest granites in existence. Why is this important to this monument? It reminds me of the courage and dedication that we are honoring today. It reminds me, my parents have always taught me 2 things about courage. Courage, not the absence of fear, but action in the face of it. Secondly, courage is the best of all virtues because without it, you cannot effectively practice any of the other. Courage, strong and true, is what the granite foundation under the eagle is all about. One of the more marvelous characteristics of this granite is its enduring brilliance. In the process of cutting, forming, and grinding, it gets scratches and blemishes. I guess that is a little like all of us struggling to be courageous. No matter how many blemishes and weaknesses in our struggle for direction, after the granite takes shape with enough pressure and polishing, the brilliance returns. My hope for this eagle sculpture is to permanently honor our veterans and remind all those impacted by their service that we remember them. I am reminded of a brief poem written by James Whitcomb Riley entitled Bereaved. It speaks of a mother who has lost a child from the perspective of one who never had a child. The poet asks, "Let me feel of your loss." So today, even though I have had a grandfather and uncles that have engaged in military service, I have never experienced the loss of someone I loved during that service. So on this memorial morning, I ask you to allow me to stand with you on this hollow ground and honor those who have served to protect it. This sculpture is a symbol of what I will try to do with my life. The journey here and the experiences that I've had will serve to help me remember. As I enjoy a carefree summer with my friends, indulging in personal pursuits and looking forward to my senior year at Timpview, I will remember. as I happily enjoy a meal with my family, enjoying without any fears of tyranny or persecution, I will remember. And if I am fortunate enough to have a family someday, I will make sure to teach them about the privileges that we enjoy so that they will remember. In closing, my hope is that this bronze eagle, with its courageous foundation, will serve to highlight this sacred memorial. So as we go throughout our days and enjoy freedom in this beautiful land, we may all remember. And may God bless America. Thank you.
Welcome out to our Memorial Day service. It's my pleasure, along with the Tempe Symphonic Band, here to pay tribute. Today is Memorial Day, where we celebrate the incredible ability and professionalism of all of our women and men in uniform. We would like to continue our program with a medley of service songs to honor those who have served. Please stand if you or a member of your family has served as you hear the following service songs for Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. Thank you for your service with our United States of America.
This time, Paul Warner, who's the executive director of the Freedom Festival, will introduce our distinguished keynote speaker, Paul Warner.
Is that enjoyable to stand and clap and appreciate all those veterans, and we appreciate the band, the good job they've done. It's a privilege to be here today. As Karen and I drove by and saw these flowers, you know, this used to be called Decoration Day. Those of you who are old enough to remember that, and to see all these beautiful flowers, it really is a decoration of beauty here amongst our graves. It's my privilege to introduce to you Steve Schallenberger. Steve's a good friend, and I appreciate our relationship. He's been a good and faithful person in our country for all of his life. He has a family of 6. His good wife's here today with him, and he has all girls except 5. So that worked out, Steve. But he has been a businessman and done a lot of good things here in the community, and is one who has also served his church well. He's been a stake president, a mission president. He's also served at the MTC, and is one of those who is able to do whatever he's asked to do. The great thing in terms of the relationship that I share with him is he's been involved now for over 30 years with the Freedom Festival. As a volunteer, he's been president, and he currently is vice chair of the board of trustees. But the thing that's, in my estimation, the great thing that Steve does is he really does practice what he preaches, and that is that this is the land of the free and the home of the brave. And his family has exhibited that, and he'll probably share a few things about some of his sons as they've served. But we appreciate very much Brother Steve Schallenberger being willing to come and share with us a message. He lives on the edge of Provo, so we count him as one of our Provoites. Please welcome Steve Schallenberger.
Thank you, and thank you to the Tent View High School Band. Wonderful. You add so much to our community. Mayor John Curtis, grateful to have you here. David Gunn and Aaron Ritmanek, who has provided us with this beautiful statue that will be here for centuries. We're so grateful for your efforts. Sherry Peterson, president of the Freedom Festival this year, and Paul Warner, our executive director, who does such a magnificent job, and every single one of our honored vets that are here today. Let's give them another big hand. And our honored guest, each one of you. Now, this has been an interesting morning. Yesterday, our son dropped off 4 of our grandchildren to watch for 3 days, and they headed off to a conference in Las Vegas, so it's been a delight having them. I bought, together with my wife, 8 great junk cereal boxes. Lucky Charms, Apple Jacks, you name it, we've got it. This is the right place to come. Everything a grandpa and grandma should do. So this morning I wanted to bring a few props. So I have in front of me here the Declaration of Independence. It's a little hard to see, I realize, in the back, but also have the Constitution of the United States, and on this side, the Bill of Rights. These were gifts from the Freedom Festival some years ago. They're beautiful, glass covered. And so this morning, as I gave one to my wife, Roxanne, to carry out to the car, and I took the other 2 and placed them in the back of our Sequoia. And when the door was open, both of them fell out, and the glass shattered. But it's Memorial Day. Who could ever get upset over a little bit of glass shattering, right? Like, let's put it in perspective here. This is nothing. These can be fixed, and here they are anyhow. Now, about 10 days ago, my wife and I had the opportunity to stand in the historic Independence Hall in the city of Philadelphia. In Independence Hall, 2 great events have happened in our history of the United States of America. One is when the representatives for the 13 colonies came together to form the Declaration of Independence. You'll notice in it says, "We hold these truths self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that there is this endowment that we have from our Creator, that there are unalienable rights, and among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are things that the members of the colonies did not have. They had taxation without representation. They did not have due process. They were not able to make laws that would represent themselves. And so they had a long list, and they finished the Declaration of Independence with this: in the support of declaration, with the firm reliance of the protection of a divine providence, we pledge our life, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. A long Revolutionary War followed that, as these colonies declared their independence after 11 years, and the victory was won. Those delegates came back to Independence Hall, which is restored in perfect form as it was then, and they drafted the Constitution of the United States. In the preamble it says, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for a common defense." And just think about these today. 250 years later, we live in a place where we can go outside and go to sleep at night and feel at peace. To provide for a general welfare and to secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. We do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. It was 3 years later that they got back together, just a few hundred feet, in the first place where the U.S. Congress met. House of Representatives downstairs, the Senate upstairs. And they passed the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights provided a way to amend the Constitution, but more importantly, it provided for the protection of the individual rights of each one of us: the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, the freedom to gather peacefully. Now, as we think about these things, these three documents in front of me, the history, the story, the people, and the spirit, it literally carries within these documents this intertwined spirit of America, this light on the hill that was unlike anything else that had ever happened in human history, that continues today. And so Memorial Day, it is the opportunity to reflect on those sacred words and what they mean to each one of us, to remember our fallen who have given their life, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. Think about this dedication, this sacrifice was present at Valley Forge. It was present at Gettysburg. It was present on the fields and on the beaches in Europe in World War I and World War II. Certainly present on the Korean Peninsula, the Pacific Islands, in the Middle East, and yes, even here at home. And so today, on this Memorial Day, we reflect on these great blessings. We remember those who were fallen. We remember those that survived. And we also give great gratitude to the American patriots who, decade in and decade out, over 250 years have preserved this freedom that we have today. And certainly every single American that lives today, who goes to work, who pays taxes, they carry that same spirit. We mutually pledge to each other life, fortune, and our sacred honor. Today, I give thanks on a personal level to my grandpa, John Robert Quarles, who fought in the trenches in World War I in Europe, to my uncles and my father in World War II, who served in the U.S. Navy and the Army Air Corps, to my grandpa and grandma Amos and Amos and Viola Schallenberger, who worked on the assembly lines in the defense of freedom in World War II in Northern California. And we're grateful for 3 of our sons who have served in the United States Air Force. Each one of our sons have known fellow officers and pilots that did not come home. One of the most memorable and tender experiences that we've had, I'd like to share about our son Stephen. Before I do, I also want to thank all of our fellow Americans, our friends and family, and our other children and family members who did not serve in the military, but nonetheless, they are American patriots in every sense of the word. They mutually pledge their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor in behalf of freedom in our country, uniquely so. Stephen, then Captain Stephen Schallenberger, also known as Smash, was assigned to his first tour of duty in Iraq, one of 4 tours throughout the world. He was serving with the 388th Fighter Squadron at Hill Air Force Base. There are 400 members from Hill that were attached to support that fighter squadron. At the end of their deployment, they came home. The Air Force chartered an aircraft that was large enough to hold all of them. Never forget us, we were at Hill Air Force in a hangar at the end of the runway. And we were all there. Next to us was Stephen's family, his children, young children. And as we looked around, also thousands of friends and families of the others that were coming home. We anxiously awaited. The announcement came that the plane was 5 minutes out. The announcement came the plane was 1 minute out. And then the announcement came that it had landed. Cheers went out the whole group, and we couldn't wait for the plane to taxi around the building. It taxied around. Cheers turned into tears. And as they pulled up, the door opened. And those wonderful men and women who gave of their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor came down. How wonderful it was to see them again. Not all came home. Stephen had a good friend, a fellow pilot, by the name of Captain Andrew Pyro Dubois. Andrew was on a mission in enemy territory in the Middle East. Something happened, and his plane went straight into the ground. Andrew did not survive. He would not be coming home. His wife survived him. Little children survived. They shared in the sacrifice of mutually pledging their life, fortunes, and sacred honor. So today, on this special day, we remember all of those, starting with our founding fathers, throughout almost 250 years, that have preserved this freedom for you and I, and made that fire of liberty burn strongly within each one of our hearts. And may we pass it down to future generations of America. We the people, with reliance upon the Most High, mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. May it always be so, and may God bless America. Thank you.